ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत श्री राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, I have great pleasure to welcome you all for this 18th session of our Prabhupad Lilamrt. So today's topic is entitled Staying High Forever. Staying high forever is in the hippie language. Hippie language means in intoxication with drugs, they reach what is called a high. So when you are in the high, you feel that you are the emperor of the world, or you feel you are God, that you have kindly manifested in this material world, but soon you will realize that you are God. So all these bombastic beliefs are part of being high. We all remember how the hippies became hippies. They were basically children of wealthy middle class people. America itself had become very prosperous after the Second World War, especially 50s and 60s. So these children are called baby boomers, that around Second World War time. Those who had been married around the time, they give birth to children, and these children grew up in great wealth. So the parents were ready to give whatever they wanted, except their care and love, because parents were busy doing their own thing. Either they were doing business or they were doing sense gratification, visiting various clubs and parties, etc. So they did not have time for their children. They would shower them with all money, but they did not want to be troubled by their children for their attention. So the children saw the artificial life that their parents were living, and they became disgusted. What they needed was love, but what they were getting was money. They found the love of their parents itself very shallow. They are not really giving love, and they found their life as artificial. They were simply living for prestige and reputation and showing off, wearing very costly, high fashion clothes, going to places where very wealthy people will visit, just trying to belong to the high society of the world. That was how their parents were living. The children thought this is hypocritical. This is a very artificial, superficial kind of life. They rejected it. They said, we don't want this life. So we don't want to be part of this society. So they left everything. And that is how they all went to east side of New York. Somehow, like we saw in one of the earlier sessions, this phenomenon has not yet been explained. Many waves of immigration happened to New York, east side, over the past 1.5 centuries. But they were explained. They were poor people coming from other countries like Ireland, Germany, Puerto Rico, Poland, so many countries from Eastern Europe, etc. They were coming. They were poor people. They were trying to eke out a life. And because the rentals were very cheap here and they could do something, that's how they all came. But this immigration within USA from wealthy families of middle class children who had nothing lacking in their life, why they came here and chose to live a life of poverty. They were there for a few years. Again, they all disappeared. So this short immigration, they have not been able to explain. Even though so many explanations have been given, nothing is so very convincing and it answers all the questions. So, and that was the same time that Prabhupada also landed. in New York, in Bowery, and subsequently to Lower East Side. So the seekers came in thousands, and the Guru also came at the same time. The seekers, they knew the parents' life was artificial, very synthetic. They don't want to have anything to do with it. They want to have a, they don't want to live a hypocritical life. They want to live a honest life, something they were looking for meaning in life. There should be some goal in life. So all that they did was they rejected their parents' way of life as we don't want it. But they did not know what kind of life they needed. What is a meaningful life? They did not know. They were experimenting. They were all teenagers, mostly boys and girls. So what did they experiment with? Basically, we are looking for happiness. We know that. Every living entity in this world, not even human beings, every living entity looking for happiness. Ahar, nidra, bhaya, maitunam. Why? For happiness one. Is it not? Eating, sleeping, waiting, defending. We are trying to find happiness through all these activities because we don't know something higher. We don't know who we are. We don't know who is God. We don't know how we came here. We don't know what is a relationship. We don't know why we are suffering. We don't know what is the goal of life. So if that is our situation, what to speak about the teenagers in America, brought up by these parents who are living an artificial life? So what we have to admire about these children, they had the courage to walk out of their parents. And they adopted a very austere, very simple life, even without knowing why they are doing. But the hankering for happiness is there. And they were looking for happiness in drugs. Mind expand, as they call. They expand the consciousness. That's what they say. Not even mind. They expand the consciousness. So they were experimenting with marijuana, LSD, and such other drugs. And then free sex. Boys and girls are all there. So they thought sex is another way of attaining happiness and transcendental happiness. They believe through drugs and sex we will attain transcendental happiness. Then music. So the young generation, these are the three things. Music. They were making, so very popular music bands came up. They started making music which makes fun of the artificial life that their parents are living. Rock music, or metal, like there's some heavy music to show their anger against the way the society is running. To add to it all, there was this war, unnecessary war with Vietnam, and the government was recruiting young boys into the war, sending them to the war. With very little training, they would go and they would mostly come back either maimed or as a dead body. Unnecessary war. The American president, to, to preserve his own position, he had started an unnecessary war. So you can see, it's a melting pot of so many things. And these boys and girls were there. But they had the seeking in them. Only they did not know, they did not have a guide. And somehow Prabhupada landed there. So Prabhupada, in these 2 months, what is this 2 months? 2 months after coming to 26 Second Avenue. That is when he completed 1 year of his departure. His departure was on a Janmashtami, and this is the next Janmashtami. What he has achieved, let's see. He has a temple now. Where he lives has become a temple. 26 Second Avenue is the temple. The ground floor is the temple, where he gives classes. And upstairs, where he lives, second floor quarters, that is where he have a temple, the kitchen, and the place of work, where Prabhupada is translating his books and where he's sitting with more serious visitors, answering all their questions. So like that. So he has a temple, and this is his own temple. He's paying rent for it, and it's his property. He's free to do anything he wants. And he's giving classes morning, evening. He's having kirtans, and he's developing, training boys and girls. So amazing. He has a temple. And second, he has ISKCON, a registered society. He has registered the society already in USA. It's a bona fide religious society that Prabhupada is registered. We have seen all the 7 objectives. So these are the objectives, and the American government has approved. They have registered the society. So the society can pursue its mission. Nobody can stop it. It is a bona fide movement in America to popularize Krishna consciousness. Second achievement, not a small achievement. In barely 1 year after coming, empty-handed, single man, 70 years old. He has accomplished. And next is, he has now full freedom to preach. Earlier, we remember when he was in Ramurti Mishra's place and so on, he had restrictions, what he can do, what he cannot do. He has to preach Mayavad. He should speak only when Ramurti Mishra asks him to speak. And mostly Ramurti will say, sing. No, don't give any class. Just sing. Some kirtans like that. But now he has full freedom. He can speak that supreme truth is a person. In a country where there is Nirvishesh and Shunyavad, God has no qualities, God has no form, and God is nothing. No heads, no head, no hands, no legs, no eye, no ear, no nose, nothing. That is God. The moment you say there is a form, immediately resistance will come. If you say God has a form, what kind of form? Is it a human form, or is it an animal form, or is it a combined form? He is a man or woman? All these nonsensical questions will arise. Does God have, if God has a form, it will limit him? Because the moment we think of a form, it's limited in space and time. The form, yes, our form is limited in space and in time. At a particular time we come, at a particular time we go, and we occupy a particular space. If I am here in Chennai, I am not there in Delhi. So it's limited. So how can God be limited? So the very definition of God is unlimited. So how can form and unlimited God go together? Hence questions. And where are the answers? So that Prabhupada is now free to preach. God is a person. With Vedic backing, with all scriptures and so many quotations, Prabhupada is able to preach that nobody can stop. And first time he has a band of initiated disciples. 11 people are already initiated, and there are more people waiting in the pipeline. They want Prabhupada's initiation. And initiated disciples means, oh, amazing. They surrender themselves to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada told them, you should, after initiation, the disciple should treat Guru as God. See, it's English. Guru as God means Guru like God. That's the meaning. Guru as God means not that Guru has become God. So there was a big debate about it. And the initial disciples of those who are going to be disciples, they had second thoughts. Prabhupada only told that if anyone says, I am God, he is a dog. And Prabhupada is telling, now I have to treat him as God. They went and asked Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, yes. Guru is Krishna's representative. God is God. Nobody can take his position. But Guru comes as a representative. And he is giving you God. So he is entitled to respect equal to God. Amazing. And they immediately accepted. Yes, Prabhupada. They became so happy. And they were ready to take initiation without knowing what it means. Prabhupada said, yes, I am going to give initiation next week. All right. Come on, prepare your beads. They prepared. They didn't know. What is initiation? What is going to happen? Prabhupada said initiation means making some commitments. All right. And after initiation only they came to know what are these commitments. And Prabhupada said, I'm happy you are asking. Prabhupada gave initiation. Then they asked, what commitment? Then Prabhupada said, I'm happy you are asking. No meat, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. Prabhupada pasted on the wall of the temple. No meat means including fish and eggs. Yeah, absolute clarity. It's not that, oh, I can take some leeway here and there. Maybe fish is not meat or maybe egg is not meat. No, clear. No intoxicant, including coffee, tea, cigarettes. Because somebody will, cigarette is not in that. It's all right. I'm not taking LSD. No, clear. Like that. See, so imagine these the children that had run out of home, they refused whatever facilities were available at home. And the only pleasures they are now having is their free sex, their music, and intoxication. And Prabhupada is cutting that straight. And they're willing, and they're happy. They're giving up. And by giving up, they are becoming happy. So all this. So Prabhupada is a band of initiated disciples now, 11 in the first batch. And he has given a glimpse of Vedic life in America. He has transplanted Vedic life to America. You remember when Mike and Janaki, Michael, he became Mukunda. When Mukunda and Janaki came to the temple after initiation, Prabhupada smiled at them and said, now you have been initiated, you cannot break the rules. So you cannot live like this. And Mukunda became little alarmed. He asked, Prabhupada, is there no scope for love in ISKCON? Prabhupada said, yes, very much. You get married. And they immediately agreed. So 2 days later, there was a marriage. Prabhupada performed the marriage, despite his being a sannyasi. Prabhupada himself said a sannyasi is not allowed to perform. He should not participate in any social functions, especially marriage ceremonies. But it's my service to Krishna. It's amazing clarity. This is the clarity as disciples we should also develop. We should have clarity on knowing the philosophy completely. We should be able to answer questions that may come up from time to time. It is not that every time one question comes, I start going and referring what is here, what is there. We should know the philosophy, the essence of it thoroughly, and we should be able to apply it. Not that we will use our mental speculation. No, we should never deviate even an inch from what is the philosophy of our mission, but we should know. If we know the philosophy deeply and thoroughly, we are not going to have any doubts about the practical issues, the details. How to transplant Krishna consciousness from a Varnashrama society like India into a Western country where there is no rules and regulations, a free society, as they call it. So Prabhupada has brought the Vedic life to America. He said, you get married and live. This is the way. No relationship outside of marriage. And marriage, as a next step, the aim of marriage is to produce Krishna conscious children. Otherwise, no relationship. You should try to produce Krishna conscious children because you are giving an opportunity for a soul to take birth as your child. And the child you will develop in a Krishna conscious way so that the soul can go back home, back to God. One should not become a father or a mother or a guru or a teacher or a king or any of those high positions if one is not capable of freeing that dependent from the cycle of birth and death. That is a definition. Anyone who is taking a position of power, of control over anyone else, either as father or mother or a teacher or a guru or a king or a CEO, they have this responsibility that they should free their dependent. So how can I free them unless I free myself first? So unless I am free, I'm not allowed to marry. Imagine. This is what's our system, our national system. Even when someone gets married, they know one day they have to leave Vanaprastha sannyas. This is not forever. So that is a kind of consciousness which is inculcated at the time of brahmacharya life. So anyway, so all these achievements are already behind Srila Prabhupada. What would have been a dream only 2 months ago have become realities now. And Prabhupada never claimed this is all my doing. Single-handedly, I came without any money to America, without any help. I have done it. Definitely, he did not get any help from India. Single-handed, whatever was accomplished, there is no other person who can take credit for this. It's all done by Prabhupada. But Prabhupada never said this. Prabhupada said, Krishna sent me when I was sincere, when I was trying to serve the instruction of my Guru Maharaj, Krishna sent me men and money. In other occasions, Prabhupada would say, with tears in his eyes, you boys and girls have been sent to me by my Guru Maharaj. You are my Guru Maharaj's representatives. You have come to help me to spread the mission of my Guru. With tears in his eyes, with choking of his voice, Prabhupada many times he would speak this. There was the kind of relationship that was there between Prabhupada and disciples cannot be described. Can you and I imagine becoming so much Krishna conscious in a span of a few months from such a degraded, debauched life, from the pits? How can anyone go so high to have taste in the holy name? For us, taste in the holy name is a distant cry. But here they are getting that taste in the holy name. So imagine the power of the Acharya. That is why we should all be very eagerly looking for the association of advanced Vaishnavas. Pure devotees is so rare. Lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lava means the smallest measure of time. If you have that much of association from a pure devotee, the whole wealth in the universe is not equal to that. Do you agree like that? Is it true like that? Lava matra sadhu sangha. Can anyone try to explain this? The wealth of the whole universe is not equal to that one moment of association of a Vaishnava. Why does the Lord say that? Would anyone like to try to explain this? Is it an exaggeration?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
No, Prabhuji, this is the second stage, Prabhuji, like Shraddha Sadhu Sangha. So Sadhu Sangha is very essential to the advance in spiritual life. Like now, we can take the example of Narada Muni. Because of his association with the great saint in Chaturmasya, he got a chance to have their Uchishta and hear transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna, and he became a greatest devotee, Prabhuji. So that is the importance of taking Sadhu Sangha.
Very true, very true. Thank you, Mukherjee. Actually, the
Prabhuji,
soul,
I also
yes,
heard
yes,
somewhere.
yeah,
I heard somewhere that this pure devotees have the power to share some amount of power to their disciples when they are in association. Is it right?
very true, Prabhu. There is this Vedic shloka which Prabhupada quotes often. Yasya deve parabhakti yata deve tata guru kasyete hidita hyartaha prakashante mahatmanaha. One who has implicit faith in the Lord and Guru, that's all you are required. Yasya deve parabhakti yata deve tata guru. One who has that respect and trust in the Guru like God, then all the Vedic truths will be illuminated in his heart by the mercy of the Guru. Everything. He doesn't have to learn first page, second page, third page, fourth page, like lesson 1, lesson 2, not like that. Everything will be revealed in the heart. That is how the mercy factor works. Ultimately, it's mercy. You see, when you are a good receptacle, then the mercy factor works. So our effort is always to become a good receptacle. Prabhupada also said now before giving initiation, the student, what is the responsibility of the chela and what is the responsibility of the guru? So guru takes responsibility for the life of the disciple, but the disciple should surrender himself to the guru and be willing to accept his instructions as his life and soul. See, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, we see in Bhagavad Gita, no, chapter 2. Vyavasayatmika Buddhi means you take Guru's instruction as your life and soul. Nothing else after that. There is no branch, Bahushaka. There are no more branches. There is only one focus. My Guru's instructions I must execute in life. That is how a disciple does. And Guru takes responsibility to deliver the chela back home, back to Godhead. That is the responsibility Guru takes. So you see the relationship, so powerful, this Guru-Sishya relationship. Guru takes complete responsibility for you, life after life, until you are delivered back home, back to it. Guru has to work for you. So the disciple also should hold on. Guru is like, life-saving rope thrown to you, and you should hold on. Just we have to hold on and we get delivered. So this Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, the soul is wandering. Brahmanda Brahmite Konu Bhagyavan Jiva. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking this question. In this Brahmanda, in this whole universe, souls are wandering. Brahmite. Jivatmas are wandering in 84 lakh species. What for they are wandering? They are looking for happiness. Looking for happiness. What else? In different forms. We are all looking for happiness. But failing miserably, only acquiring karma, which is the root for more suffering. So it is said, until you don't become Krishna conscious, both piety and sin both lead to suffering only, or what is called both auspicious and inauspicious, what we say in material terms. Both are inauspicious only. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says, until you don't come to Krishna consciousness. What you think, oh, I got a raise, oh, I got a promotion, oh, I got a nice family life, oh, I got a nice car. We think auspicious, no? I won a lottery. Of course, we don't buy lottery tickets, but still, these are considered auspicious. But they are not auspicious. Eventually, it's going to entangle you more and more materially. When you experience punya, it is going to entrap you into more and more enjoyment. So, you don't experience auspiciousness until you come in touch with your Guru. Till that time, there's no auspiciousness in your life. Everything, auspicious, inauspicious, both are inauspicious only. Both punya and papa bind you to material existence. Though it appears to be a more pleasurable experience, but it binds you. And material life, if you compare with spiritual life, you understand how a fallen, degraded condition it is. So Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha is opening the door, Swargadwaram. It's not Swargadwaram, it is Vaikuntadwaram. It is opening for you. Whereas everything else you do in this world, you are going to be going round in circles only within the material world. So that way, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha is certainly many times, unlimitedly superior to whatever we have in terms of material attainments. Nothing. If you perform 1 million Ashwamedha Yajnas, that's why it is asked. Is 1 million Ashwamedha Yajnas equal to one name of Krishna? One chanting the name of Krishna? Never. It cannot be. Because Krishna is giving you spiritual benefits. And a spiritual benefit has no comparison with any kind of material benefit. So on these points, we should be very, very clear in our mind. That's why, what about a pure devotee and what about a demigod like Brahma? Who is greater? Of course, with all respect to them, it's not that we mean disrespect for demigods or anything like that, but still, this kind of comparison helps us to get a perspective. Can anyone make some comments on this? Who is greater, a pure devotee of the Lord or a demigod, a very powerful demigod? We have so many temples of demigods in India. So which is superior? Which is greater? With valid reason you have to explain. Yes, Prabhu.
Pure devotees are always the number one citizen in Golaka. And demigods, they have special power, but they are never accessible, or they are immersed in enjoyment. So they do not have sufferings. So they don't bother to pay much attention to God. So they are busy enjoying. So they can never attain God as pure devotees have reached the status.
Very right. See, because they are devotees and because they have some material desires for power and position, Krishna has blessed them with those positions. They are much more advanced than us, but they are mixed devotees. They are in Sattva Guna. We are in mixed Guna. We are not in pure Sattva Guna also, right? So, but they are in Sattva Guna. But still we should know that the pure devotees of the Lord who are in the spiritual world, if they want to become a demigod, oh, Krishna will bless them anytime. Someone wants to be, let's say, a Ganesha or Kumara, readily available, but they don't want. They want only one identity. What identity they want? The pure devotees of the Lord?
Servants of the Lord, Prabhuji.
Yeah, servants of the Lord are even better.
Servants of the servant of the servant of the servant.
Absolutely. That is the position they want always. They don't want to be known as, Kulashekara, have you read Mukundamala? There is one shloka where he takes 7 times. Brittasya, Britya,
Yes, Prabhu.
servant. He says 7 times, Krishna, my only prayer, please consider me as the servant of 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 yours. That is my prayer. Kulashekara, a great emperor.
Can I recite, Prabhuji?
Huh, Mataji? Yeah, please, go ahead.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
Yesterday only I came to hear Prabhu.
Jai.
Majjanmana palamidam madhutaita bhare mat prarthaniya madanugraha esha eva tad britya paricharaka britya britya iti mam smara lokanatha.
Very well.
Hare
So
Krishna.
when will we get this mood? That is the aspiration.
Yesterday only I hear.
Thank you. How sweet to the ears, no? How sweet it is to hear that this is an aspiration of an emperor. He doesn't say, oh, I would like to be known as your great devotee. He's not saying that. I want to be servant of the servant of the servant of the, like that. 7 times he's saying. It's a 4-line song. The last 2 lines are only Britya, Paricharaka, Britya. 2 lines are like that. So this is the mood of a devotee. He doesn't want any other identity. He doesn't want an identity as a demigod. We know demigod has got tremendous powers over us. The whole material universe, demigods have very special powers bestowed upon them by the Supreme Lord. But a pure devotee doesn't care for it. So who is greater? One who doesn't care for it.
Pure devotee.
Yeah, because demigods are devotees. But because they had these desires, they are in that position. But with all respect, let us not dishonor the demigods. They are far ahead of us because they are in Sattva Gun. They are in Sattva Gun, and many of the demigods are expansions of pure devotees in the spiritual world. The pure devotees in the spiritual world, they expand into demigods in Swargaloka, etc., at the desire of the Supreme Lord. Now, once you are in the spiritual world, as an associate of the Lord, all that you want to do is simply do whatever the Lord wants. So the Lord, whatever He wants, they will do. Jaya Vijaya agreed to come as Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Shishupal, Dantavikra, just to please the Lord, because the Lord wants to exercise His fighting potency. And they come to serve the Lord in that position. So the pure devotees have only one thing in their mind, the Lord's happiness. But when that becomes your only desire, your happiness is guaranteed. When a devotee goes to a hell, the hell becomes Vaikuntha for him. Wherever the devotee goes, that place becomes Vaikuntha for him. Because he is carrying Krishna in his heart. Because he is carrying Krishna. So, see, these are all not hypothetical things. Unfortunately, sometimes we have a hypothetical understanding and we think we have become learned. No? We should be very, very vigilant on this particular point. We have to wait for realization. Till that time, we should get happiness by meditating on these points, but we should know that we have no realization yet. By pursuing the path of Bhakti Yoga as taught to us by our spiritual master, slowly, slowly, these things will be revealed to us, illuminated in our heart. Till that time, as a devotee with Shraddha, we appreciate these points. But realization, long way to go. So we have to always maintain humility in our hearts, that such great things are being revealed to me, but I have to develop my eligibility to attain that. So that way we should have that mood. Just excuse me, I will carry this and I will charge it. I don't know, after 3 hours it is almost discharged. Just give me a little time. Okay. Let's see. Hare Krishna. So the point I was trying to make is we should appreciate a pure devotee with a proper understanding of his very special position. He is greater than all demigods. So if I have an altar, and in my altar we have some pictures, and traditionally as Hindu families, many pictures are brought with us from parental homes, etc., and they all adorn our altar. Sometimes there are many, many pictures. So, but we should know, if we have demigods in our altar, we should know which is their position. The Supreme Lord is at the top, whether it is Gauranitai or Jagannath Baldev Subhadra or Radha Krishna. They are at the top. Nrsingadev, they are at the top. Guru Parampara is at the next stage. There is no need for a demigod level step in your altar. But if you want to have, because some people may not like it, they may say, what is this? You are giving up everything simply because ISKCON people are telling. You don't want to pick up a quarrel with them or to create some animosity. So you keep them. But their position is below the Guru Parampara. Guru Parampara are associates of the Lord, direct associates of the Lord. So this we must understand. So Prabhupada is not taking any credit. Prabhupada says, Krishna sent me men and money, and that's how I could accomplish what I have done. So these were happy days. Saksrupa Goswami Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Yes.
I have one small doubt.
Yeah.
Actually, in our society, and especially in my family, we have two. I am maintaining two altars. One is that's Lakshmi and Narayan, and Lord Shiva. These two are there. I'm not able to totally eliminate them. So my wife is keeping them in a separate altar in the.
Yes, Prabhu. So how do you perform worship in two altars? Prabhu, I don't hear you. Your voice is breaking.
And
Prabhuji, your voice is breaking. I don't hear you. I don't hear you. No, but anyway, see, let me say this. See, once you know the principle, you know the position of Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva. Have you read Srimad Bhagavatam 8th canto?
no, Prabhu, not yet.
There, when the devatas, they go to Lord Shiva to pray to save them from halhal, poison, then they offer some nice prayers.
Yes.
But use some nice purports. We explain who is Lord Shiva in connection with Lord Vishnu. Okay. So our understanding should be very clear. Even in Brahma Samhita, you have that, Kshiram Yata Dadvikara Vishesha Yoga. There is one shloka to describe Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is not different from Lord Vishnu, but still Vaishnavas don't worship him. Vaishnavas have all respect for him. Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. Bhagavatam says. Among Vaishnavas, he is topmost Vaishnava. But he is doing a particular service when Vishnu is never touched by material qualities. But unless he gets touched by material qualities, he cannot serve the souls which are conditioned in this material world. For that purpose, he allows a tinge of tamogun to touch him, and then he becomes Lord Shiva. So, in that sense, a Vaishnava has clear understanding about the position of Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva. Shiva is, by the way, not a Jiva Tattva. He is in a higher pedestal than Jiva Tattva. But he's not a Vishnu Tattva also. Because there is a tinge of guna in him. Whereas Supreme Lord is Nirguna. So we worship him at that level. So knowing this principle, you can definitely worship Lord Shiva as a Vaishnava. There is nothing wrong. We are going to pray to Lord Shiva to help us to develop Krishna Prema. And he will be very happy to bless you with that. Lord Shiva is in Kasi or Varanasi, and he is chanting the name of Lord Ram in the ear of everyone who dies there. He is not chanting Om Namah Shivaya. He is chanting the name of Ram because he wants to send them to Vaikuntha. So this is the service of Lord Shiva. The most fallen souls also, he wants to give them the supreme benediction of Vaikuntha. So that is why Lord Shiva is great. So our very important concern is, while we try to set a good example to our relatives and friends and those people, but with elders, we should be very careful that we don't give a wrong impression that we are all, against Hinduism, we are against demigods, and they should not get a wrong understanding. So for that reason, you can keep them in your altar and worship them. But as far as your mood is concerned, we are very clear that we are worshipping Lord Krishna or Vishnu Tattva. Lakshmi Narayan is perfectly okay. Is it all?
Right, Prabhuji. Right.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. Thank you.
When we go higher in devotional service, we try to develop a particular rasa. So when we try to develop a rasa, then Lakshmi Narayan is not appropriate for our worship. Because Lakshmi Narayan is in Aishwarya Bhava.
Yes,
So
yes.
we want to worship Radha Krishna or Jagannath Baldev Subhadra or Gauranitai. And then we try to develop a particular rasa with them in the prema. So we are not in Aishwarya, we are more in the prema mood, Madhurya. So like that. So each of them has a particular significance. Only Vaishnavas knows these things clearly. But a non-Vaishnava will think Vaishnava is very narrow-minded, close-minded, superstitious, sentimental. They will say all these things. But you should educate them nicely and you should protect them from doing offenses. If they do offenses, their further advancement will be, unnecessarily delayed. So those things we should keep. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So around this time, Prabhupada's days are very happy. But he's 71, but he's not happy like a retired man. No, I have come, I have accomplished, not in that mood, but he's in the mood of a courageous youth with great ambitions. He has just begun. There is so much more to accomplish. So he's like a young giant just beginning to grow. This 22nd Avenue is just like a sprout, but he's a young giant at the age of 71, waiting to grow. So he's happy not for himself. He's in the mood of a selfless servant only. But he's happy as a selfless servant to plant Krishna consciousness, train people, and distribute Krishna consciousness worldwide. That is his mission. And because it is taking hold in the US, he is happy. So this is the kind of happiness of a devotee. His happiness is always for others. Oh, the Americans are accepting. Americans are becoming Krishna conscious. Now these souls can be delivered. Now these souls can go back home, back to Godhead, and Krishna will become happy. This is the mood of a devotee. So at the age of 71, when everyone is practically retired, and here is somebody who is just beginning to grow into a giant, like a courageous youth, like that. These are all terms I have picked up from the book only, Satsrupa Goswami Maharaj. And he is eager for more as a greedy Vaishnava. A greedy Vaishnava means he wants to do more for Krishna. He is never satisfied, I have done enough for Krishna. I have done a lot of book distribution. I have done a lot of fundraising. I have taught a lot of people and I made them devotees. Vaishnava is never satisfied in that way. Vaishnava is self-satisfied. For himself, he has no desire. But he is always eager to do more and more for Krishna. So that way, Prabhupada is an example of a greedy Vaishnava. He is always thinking big for Krishna, never small. Always thinking big. And first time now, Kirtan goes outdoor. So like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to do this Sankirtan, Prema Kirtan in the closed doors of Srila Sangha. Then one day when Chandkazi did some aparad to Vaishnavas, then Mahaprabhu took the Kirtan outdoors. The first Nagar Sankirtan, or Prabhupada calls the first civil disobedient movement, was started by, not by Mahatma Gandhi. Civil disobedient movement was started by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Chandkazi said, no one should chant. No one should chant, especially in public. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defied that order and he started chanting outside. And he took lakhs and lakhs of people in a procession to chant that. In a similar way, Chaitanya Prabhupada has now decided to take the Kirtan outdoor. Till now, it was inside the temple. Whether it was in Ramurthy Mishra's place or in Bauri or now in 22nd Avenue. But now Prabhupada decided to go outdoor. And he told his disciples, now we will go out. They should know what we are doing. We have no secrets. So, his disciples record that Prabhupada never wanted any secrets. He wanted everyone to know what he is doing. You know why this is significant? Throughout the world, there are many cults. There are many cults. And the cults have some secret practices. And they don't want the world to know. Unless you become a member of that cult, then you become part of the closed group of the cult. And then you will become privy to the doings of that cult. But others will not. For everyone, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was doing kirtan inside Srivas Angan only for 1 whole year. So then it was like a cult. Nobody knew what. Then Mahaprabhu took it out. After all, Mahaprabhu came to give it to the world. Right? In a similar way, Prabhupada's mood is, we are not a cult. We are not doing anything in secret. We are speaking from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is meant to be given to the world. So Prabhupada said, we are going to chant in Washington Square Park in New York. All the disciples, they became very shy. They were happy to sit in front of Prabhupada and chant in the temple, but they had a lot of reservations about going out. In fact, they were upset. They were fearful. Why Prabhupada is asking us to go out? We are happy here in the temple. We are chanting. Why? Nobody understood the mood of Prabhupada. Prabhupada's aim is not to save these 11 people. Prabhupada's aim is to save the whole world. Nobody understood. You should all know the mood of the temple now. Except Prabhupada, everyone is thinking this movement will stay here only. 26th Avenue, Lower East Side, to preach to the hippies, that's all. They thought Prabhupada is our property. He has come here and he will take care of us only. And they also did not realize Prabhupada is an old man. He may die anytime. No, they thought he is a spiritual man. He has demonstrated so many powers, so he will not die also. Anyway, so the D-Day came and all the boys followed Prabhupada. Prabhupada knew they would love it once they tried. See, it is our experience also. Many of us know. We are very shy to go out to do kirtan, or we are very shy to go out for book distribution, to stand in the public and request people, please take this book. We have a lot of reservations. No? But Prabhupada is saying, he knew they would love it. Prabhupada knew they would love it. But they have to try. So that means he must go with them. He cannot simply sit in the temple and tell them, you go and chant. So Prabhupada is leading them. So they all went. Prabhupada was leading and he was having his chin up in the air. We have seen how Prabhupada was. And all the boys were very shy with heads hanging down. They walked. And urchins on the roadside, the ruffians, they were all making some comments, laughing at them. But they were walking and Prabhupada was doing kirtan already. So a guru had never gone to the streets before to sing the names of God. Now the American silence was broken. So in America, God's names were not sung in public, in the streets. So Satsvarup Maharaj writes, the American silence was now broken by Srila Prabhupada. So many firsts, Prabhupada is doing. So now they went to the Washington Square Park. They did kirtan. Initially, the boys were very shy, but Prabhupada sat down, closed his eyes and started doing kirtan. And slowly, the boys joined him. Initially, very softly, then slowly, loudly. And they matched Prabhupada's loudness. Prabhupada's eyes were closed. The nerves on his forehead were jutting out. Prabhupada was making so much effort, shouting the Mahamantra. And with complete concentration and closed eyes. And the boys reciprocated. And then there was a crowd. Hundreds of people collected and they started watching. People who had come to the park. And many of them started joining also in the kirtan. And Jagannatha, who was James Green earlier, now he's initiated. He says it was a marvelous thing. That experience, it opened me a great deal. I overcame a certain shyness to chant out in the middle of everything. See how Prabhupada is preparing his disciples. He's getting rid of their shyness. He's making them realize this is our service to God. Why should a devotee be shy? We have come to deliver the conditioned souls of this world. We are serving the Lord. Our aim is to please Krishna. And once he is pleased, our life is successful. So he is recording. Initially, he was very shy, but when he did it under the guidance of Prabhupada, it was marvelous. That experience opened his heart, and now he overcame shyness. So this is how Prabhupada prepared and then sent them out on preaching missions. And these disciples achieved great results because of the role model set by Srila Prabhupada. Then the boys were coming, they came back to the temple and they were discussing how wonderful Krishna consciousness is, how nice the chanting is, and we feel high. This what the drugs give a kind of high, but this Mahamantra gives much greater high. And from the drugs, you have to come back. But the happiness that you get from Krishna consciousness, you never come down. Like that, they were discussing. And they made a flyer inviting people to come and join us for Kirtan in the temple in the morning and evening. They made a flyer and they distributed in all the houses. And then Allen Ginsberg also received an invitation. He is a great poet, we know. He's very popular among hippies. So he visited the temple. He brought harmonium to give to the devotees. He also brought some money. And he spoke to Prabhupada in a very respectful mood. And Prabhupada told him, Yadyadacharati Shrestha. You are so popular, you popularize this Mahamantra. The boys and girls will follow you. So be a good example, like the Prabhupada said. And when Allen Ginsberg, he spoke highly about a Bengali godman. I will not name him because he's not named, but everybody knows. He praised him and immediately Prabhupada criticized him. Allen Ginsberg was shocked. He all along thought all godmen are great people, saintly people, and we should only praise them. There is no defect in them. But here is Prabhupada criticizing him, saying this man actually misled the population and he did wrong like that. So Allen Ginsberg came to two conclusions. One, I should not accept all godmen at face value. So for us also, this is an important lesson. Anyone in saffron, anyone is speaking some pious things, we should not immediately start following them. Second lesson Allen Ginsberg learned was, this Prabhupada also, I will not accept him blindly. I will test him. I will watch him closely. What he is telling now is applicable to him also. So he decided that he will watch Prabhupada very closely and carefully. So then Allen Ginsberg, before leaving, some of the disciples of Prabhupada told, Prabhupada came on a 2 months visa to New York, to America. Now he has been extending it 2 months, 2 months, 2 months, like that. One whole year he has extended. Now the immigration department is refusing. They say you have to go back. So they have to engage a lawyer to fight the case to get permanent residency for Srila Prabhupada. So immediately Allen Ginsberg said, yes, it should be done. And he gave some Lakshmi, saying, please use this to engage a lawyer. And then Prabhupada told Allen Ginsberg, he asked him, Prabhupada, what is your aim for these boys and girls? Prabhupada said, I will make them Vaishnavas. And Prabhupada further added, I will make them Brahmanas. Now, I would like to hear from some of you. Why did Prabhupada say these two things? I will make them Vaishnavas and I will make them Brahmanas. No harm. Whatever comes to your mind, please speak.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Jai Prabhuji. By Brahmanas, I think Prabhupada means to know the Vedic scriptures, to be knowing all Vedic scriptures and then following them. By Vaishnavas, he means Brahmanas with pure devotion to the Lord.
Good. Thank you. Yeah. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Vaishnava is more superior than a Brahman.
So why Prabhupada says Vaishnava and Brahman?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Is it the first initiation and the second initiation?
No. Not that Brahman.
Okay.
Not that Brahman. This Brahmana Prabhupada is talking about Varnashrama Brahman. You know, Varnashrama is by qualification, right? Not by birth. So Prabhupada wants to make them Vaishnava and Brahmana. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, probably Prabhupada wanted them to take second initiation so that they can perform deity worship as well as they are more serious into their practice of devotional service.
Yeah, that is true, but that's not what Prabhupada meant here. See, the second initiation is a typically ISKCON process, ISKCON and Gaudiya Math process. Bhaktisiddhanta
Right.
Saraswati started this first and second initiation. But here Prabhupada is talking about Brahmana in a different sense. See, the definition of a Vaishnava, what is the definition of a Vaishnava?
Anyone who is the servant of the Lord or devotee of the Lord, Prabhuji.
Yes, we accept the absolute truth as a person, right? Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. This is our philosophy. We know we are part and parcels of the Supreme Lord and eternally His servants. And through the process of bhakti, we want to attain Krishna Prem. So, Sambandha, we have already spoken. We are sparks of the divine, His eternal servants. Abhideya, we have to follow the process of bhakti, sadhana bhakti, which is the Navavida bhakti. That is the Abhideya. And what is Prayojana? We develop Krishna Prem. The sadhana bhakti is called Vaidhi bhakti. We have to follow so many rules and regulations. But when we get Prayojana, which is a spontaneous love of God, then that is the perfection of life. Then you are in Prema. When you are in Prema, you are ready to enter into the spiritual world. This is the definition of a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava means you know Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. You accept your Anya Abhilashita. No, I want only Krishna Prema. I want to go back home, serve Krishna. And I don't want the process of karma, jnana, ashtanga yoga. I am choosing the process of bhakti only. So the goal is clear. I want to get Krishna Prema. I want to go and serve Krishna Prema. And the path is also unmixed with karma, jnana, yoga. It is pure bhakti only. And you are only interested to serve Krishna. Anukulyena Krishna Anushila. In a favorable way, you want to serve Krishna constantly. That is the definition of a Vaishnava. That is a Vaishnava. This is a definition of a Vaishnava. So, but when we accept these principles, we may be a neophyte. We are beginners. Even a neophyte is called a neophyte Vaishnava. Right? Then you get Madhyama platform. Then you become Uttama platform. Right? Kanishta Vaishnava, Madhyama Vaishnava, Uttama Vaishnava. Like that. But when we are Kanishta Vaishnavas, we have many bad qualities in us, which we have brought with us from past lifetimes. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsya. We don't have proper etiquettes of Vaishnava behavior. We are yet to develop them. Our faith and confidence in the Shastras, our knowledge is not yet strong. It is still weak. So, on the one side, while we continue to do our Vaidhi sadhana, but we have to be very careful about our behavior and about our characteristics. So Prabhupada says, simultaneously, you should develop your Sattva Guna. Brahmana means one who is in Sattva Guna. One who is in Sattva Guna. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna defines what are the qualities of a Brahmana. Shamo, Dama, Tapasaucham, Kshanti, Arjava, Mevacha, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam, Brahma, Karma, Svabhavajam. So these are qualities of a Brahmana. So when we are, because our mission is a preaching mission, we all are supposed to not only deliver ourselves, but we are supposed to deliver others. Right? Bharata Bhumite Haila Manusha Janma Yara, Janma Sarthaka Kari, Karo Paropaka. The aim is, Yara Deko Tare Kaho Krishna Upadesh. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you see anyone you give Krishna's Upadesh, Amar Ajnaya Guru Haya, Tare Desh. Become a guru on my order, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. Everyone should become a guru and deliver the world. This is what Krishna wants, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants. So as a Vaishnava, these are our duties. But when we develop Brahminical qualities, it will be easier for us to do these things. People will be able to see the Sattva Guna which is shining in us, and they will be attracted to the message that we are trying to give. As Kanishta Vaishnava, see, somebody is in Uttama Vaishnava stage, they have all the qualities of Brahmana and more, even at Madhyama stage. But we are beginners, so we should make a conscious effort to develop Brahminical qualities also. Right? So apart from the 4 regulative principles, We should also try to develop qualities like Shamo, Dama, Tapa, Shaucham, Kshanti, Arjava, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam. These Brahminical qualities we should simultaneously try to develop. This is why Prabhupada says Vaishnava and Brahmana. We should not, when it is said that a Vaishnava is greater than a Brahmana, we should not think that we are greater than Brahmanas. We should always have the mood that I am not even a Vaishnava. I am not even a Madhyama Vaishnava. I am not even a Kanishta Vaishnava. I am simply an aspiring Vaishnava. And we should develop the mood of Trinada Visuni Chena Tarorupi Saishna. We should have the humble mood of lower than a blade of grass. So that is why, even as we are trying to progress as Vaishnava, we should always try to develop Brahminical qualities. We should not take shelter of the fact that a Vaishnava is greater than a Brahmana. Though the scriptures say that a Vaishnava, even if he is a dog eater, is qualified to perform yajnas. Whereas a Brahmana, with all Brahminical qualities, if he doesn't know the Krishna philosophy, he is not fit. He cannot be accepted as a guru. So these are things in the scriptures, but we should know that humility is a very fundamental trait of a Vaishnava. And we should try to develop, on the one side, our Shraddha, on the other side, we should carefully get rid of our anarthas. Lust, greed, anger, pride, envy, all these things we should try to get rid of them. Let's say Prabhupada says Vaishnava Brahman. And Allen Ginsberg was shocked that Prabhupada is saying this. Is it possible? Like that he was thinking. But Prabhupada showed it. And Prabhupada's immigration problem also, Allen Ginsberg gave a donation and he said, please engage a lawyer and this can be done. I will give full support. Then Radhashtami came. You remember last Janmashtami, the following day, Prabhupada's appearance day, Prabhupada initiated the first 11. Now there are more initiations. Here is Brahmananda. He was the Bruce Shaw we saw in the last class. No, he joined recently. He is now initiated as Brahmananda. He is working in social welfare department. He is a very sincere seeker. And Kirtanananda. Who is Kirtanananda? Any guess?
Keith Prabhuji.
Keith became Kirtanananda. Last time he did not get initiated. You see, he should have got initiated, but he was in the hospital. So he could not get initiated. So this time he is getting initiated. And Achyutananda is Chug. He is becoming Achyutananda. And Steve, last week we introduced Steve there. And he became Satsvarupa. And who is this Satsvarupa? Anyone knows?
Who wrote this Prabhupada Lilamrt, Prabhuji?
Yeah. He is the other of this group.
Amazing.
Yeah. Satsvarupadas Goswami. Satsvarupadas Goswami. A biography of His Divine Grace. How much love he should have to produce a book like this. Such an amazing book. And we are relishing so much. I am hardly touching 10%. No, I am touching hardly 1% in our sessions. There is so much and written with so much love. Only someone who loves his guru completely can write a book like this. So amazing. It is so powerful. It touches your heart. So then there was again a big feast. Prabhupada cooked and served all of them a nice feast also. And then, so Prabhupada is preaching among hippies, and the hippies are all experimenting with drugs, especially LSD, marijuana, and partly India is responsible for the drug culture in America. Prabhupada explained that many American boys and girls who joined the hippie generation, they were seekers of God. And they were all attracted to the East because Buddhism or Hinduism, so many yogis are coming from India. So they thought real spirituality is in India because they see them only wearing orange robes, leading very simple lives. So they thought real spirituality will be there. And they came to India. They went to Himalayas, Haridwar, Rishikesh, and they found people smoking ganja, wearing saffron, smoking ganja. And from these people, they learned that ganja is a bona fide spiritual drug. Like Lord Shiva drank poison, as followers of Lord Shiva, we should smoke this poison weed. Then only we are proper disciples of Lord Shiva. So they smoke and they claim to be spiritually advanced. So these innocent young boys and girls, they believed it. And they came back to America and they introduced this marijuana culture. They saying, this expands your consciousness. This will take you towards spirituality. So many hippies were taking drugs and LSD like that. At this point of time, Greg Scharf, 18 years old, he also joins Prabhupada's movement. He is the brother of Brahmananda, younger brother of Brahmananda. He also joins and he wants to know whether he should also try LSD. Because everyone who is with Prabhupada has tried LSD. See, he was asking whether I should also try. But then the other disciples said, no, not necessary. Prabhupada is giving us something higher. So Greg Scharf, he never tried drugs. He straight away came to Krishna consciousness. Around this time, there was a cult of hippies led by a guru called Dr. Leary. They were experimenting with LSD as a spiritual drug to expand the consciousness. Prabhupada was the only one so far to attack the drug culture. The entire hippie generation believed that drugs are the way to God. But Prabhupada very patiently explained to them. So this community called Millbrook Commune in New York, those people came to meet Prabhupada to ask him some questions. So Prabhupada straight away told them, no, drugs are not the way to God. Drugs cannot expand your consciousness. Spirituality doesn't need any drugs like that. After hearing Prabhupada, one of them asked, but have you tried LSD? Prabhupada said, no. I have not tried LSD. I have not tried marijuana. I have not even taken coffee, tea, or cigarettes. Then they asked again back to Prabhupada, then how can you comment on these drugs? We are using it, we are experiencing it, and we are telling you. How you can deny? Then Prabhupada looked back at them with an authoritative smile on his face. He said, I have not tried these things, but all my disciples here, they have tried it. And now they have given up in favor of the Mahamantra. They have given up LSD as useless and they are trying Mahamantra. Then he told them, talk to my disciple here, Hayagriva. And then Hayagriva spoke to them. He told them, look, have you noticed every time you take a drug, you get a high, but you can't stay in the high. You will come down. You cannot remain in the high. Like if you take a rocket and fly in outer space, you cannot go on flying. You have to land. So in this high, what you get from drugs, similarly, you have to land. But in Krishna consciousness, you keep going higher and higher. There's no landing back. You go back home, back to Krishna, a place of eternal happiness. And Prabhupada explained to them, if you want to explain in LSD terms, Krishna consciousness is like a room full of LSD. So like that, they were all defeated. And Prabhupada's disciples, later on, they were talking to themselves and they were so happy. Yes, Prabhupada, it is true. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is giving us a high and there is no coming down. We want to chant more and more like that. They were sharing with Prabhupada and they said, they resolved among themselves that we should spread this mission to others. So this is what Prabhupada wanted. Prabhupada as a single man, he cannot do. But now that mood is developing among his followers. So next thing, Prabhupada took the devotees to Tompkins Square Park, another park in New York. And he sent an advance party, 3-4 devotees. They went early. They spread the carpet. They sat there. They started doing Mahamantra chanting. Kirtanananda was already shaven-headed and wearing yellow robes. He has given up his jeans and t-shirt. He's in robes. Others are still in the typical hippie dress, but they're all devotees now. And they all went and chanted. And after some time, Prabhupada also went. He sat under the tree and he started leading the kirtan with all seriousness and earnestness. And a big crowd gathered. Hundreds of people. And after some time, Prabhupada gave an indication to stand up and dance. So first Prabhupada's disciples stood up and started dancing. Then other hippies joined. Then more and more people joined, and they all joined hands and in circles. They were going around Prabhupada and the tree. Behind Prabhupada, you can see that large oak tree. So like that. Then after 2 hours of kirtan, Prabhupada was playing a drum, small drum. There was no mridanga yet. Prabhupada was no mridanga. And then Prabhupada gave a class, and then finally they all returned back to the temple. And it was another very, very successful visit. And the kirtan had finally gone to the streets, gone to the public. Now in America, there is going to be an explosion of Hare Krishna. So that's what has happened. So Prabhupada at the age of 71, whatever he was doing was a big risk, because he's an old man and he's stressing himself too much. He's hardly sleeping 4 hours a night. The rest of the time, very, very active, 20 hours. Singing loud kirtans, loudly giving classes, and taking such big, big tasks which at his age he cannot do. But the boys thought he's completely spiritual. If at the age of 71, if someone can be so strong, then he's definitely a spiritual man and he will not die. The boys thought like that. And externally, Prabhupada appeared to be in very sound health. He would shout, he would sing loud kirtans, he would dance, he would play the drum for hours, he would give classes at a loud voice, he would cook, he would sit up late in the night and translate books. And if anyone came to his room, he would give classes for them. So like that, Prabhupada was demonstrating great strength. But inside what was happening, nobody knew at that time. But at last, Hare Krishna had become the talk of the town. New York is the capital of Maya, but in that place, Prabhupada made Hare Krishna the talk of the town. That evening, after Tompkins Square Park, when they returned to the temple, there was the biggest crowd. The temple was full and overflowing. There was not enough place for people to sit. There were so many people standing outside. And Prabhupada gave class, and there was chanting, and there were question answers. So it was a great success. Prasadam distribution, like that. And there was an article in New York Times, imagine. Big article with a photograph of Srila Prabhupada. And another popular newspaper at that time, East Village Other, they also wrote, the first page was full of this Hare Krishna only, and center page there was a big article. And Prabhupada saw it and was very pleased because they had printed the full Mahamantra, both articles, both in New York Times and East Village Other. They printed the whole Mahamantra. Prabhupada was so happy because now so many people will read this and they will read the whole Mahamantra. So this is ultimately the aim of Prabhupada, not that he is becoming famous. His aim is Mahamantra should become famous. Everybody should start chanting like. So one more visit to Tompkins Square Park, same magic occurs. Allen Ginsberg again visits, and new devotees join. Bob Coran, he was a married man, 26 years old with 2 children, working. And Judy Kozlovsky, 19 years old, PG student of psychology. Then Dan Clark, he's a filmmaker, 25 years old. All these people become serious followers of Prabhupada. Judy was soon initiated as Jadurani. Some of you might have heard this name. She became a painter for Srila Prabhupada because she's a good artist. Even this picture you see here is painted by her. And in the Bhagavad Gita, first edition, almost all the pictures were painted by her. Many, many pictures have been painted by her for ISKCON. Prabhupada guided her to make these drawings. So her pictures are called windows to the spiritual world. Under the guidance of Prabhupada, she knows nothing, but under guidance of Prabhupada, she has made those amazing paintings, which are considered windows, snapshots of spiritual world we get by seeing those pictures. And Bob Coran, he started chanting 32 rounds straight away. He was so much afraid of material existence. And he took initiation and he became Rupanuga. Dan Clark was a little hesitant, even though his wife said he never danced in his life. He's a very shy person. But when Prabhupada disciples danced in the Tompkins Square Park, he also joined. So like that, but Dan is still taking some time. devotees are different types. Some people make a commitment straight away. Some people take a little more time. Now, here are some pictures. This is Jadurani with the Prime Minister presenting a book containing pictures painted by her. And this is our author, Satsarupadas Goswami. All these pictures are of him only. This is Achyutananda, who was also a very powerful preacher. He was temple president for several years, a very powerful preacher. And on the top right, you see Brahmananda. This is Brahmananda also, a very, very powerful preacher, very, very nice gentleman. He had a long association with Srila Prabhupada. And top right, you see, is Mukunda Maharaj. He was Michael Grant, later initiated along with his wife as Janaki and Mukunda. These are the people. I am not sure about this picture. I think Rupanuga, I'm not very sure. So with this, we come to the end of today's session. Thank you very much for joining.